Hello Hearties, it's Catherine here, and today I want to talk to you about, is it possible to be heart-centered in business and still run a truly successful business? Now, this phrase heart-centered, this is a phrase that I've used since the very beginning of my business. Right in the very early days, I came across this phrase on the website of an American coach, and it just struck me as the perfect phrase to sum up my own approach and the types of people that I wanted to help and work with. So it's been part of my marketing and my ideal client for many years. And as a result of that, many people in my community also identify with that phrase heart-centered. But there's something else that I find goes along with it so often, which is this sort of thought process that goes, I identify with this phrase heart-centered. I'm a good person. I want to treat people well. I want to do good work. I want to treat people with fairness. I want to treat people with respect. I want to operate in alignment with my values. Can I really create a successful business? Doesn't success in business inherently mean needing to be manipulative, self-serving, self-promotional, hypey, out for what I can get? And so I want to explore that today and share some tips with you as well about how you can sort of navigate what can sometimes feel like a conflict between your heart-centeredness, or should we call it your good personness, not quite a proper word, and much of what you see out there in the world when it comes to sales and marketing. So I want to start by just defining what I mean by this phrase heart-centered, because let's face it, it is a slightly woolly term. I know it's interpreted differently by many different people. So my definition of a heart-centered business is one where the business owner has gone into business primarily because they want to make a difference to other people, or they want to do good in the world. Or maybe they've gone into business because they're really passionate about what they do and want to share that with others. Either way, that's the primary motivation. The primary motivation is not making money for its own sake, although they do want to create a good lifestyle, a good income stream for themselves. It's also somebody who operates in alignment with certain values, and these are typically going to be fairness, respect, kindness, honesty, these types of values. And again, a heart-centered business owner is somebody who isn't prepared to compromise those values in pursuit of money or in pursuit of the next client. But again, they want the business to work and be successful. So the other thing I want to point out when I'm in the definition stage is in the phrase heart-centered business, there's the word business. And so this is important that we are thinking about this in terms of a business. And if you are not making a profit, and if you're not getting clients, and there's no money coming in, then actually you don't have a business. Now, of course, in the very early stages of a business, you may not be in profit. You may find there's more money going out than coming in. That is a natural sort of transition part of the journey. But over the longer term, for your business to be a true business, it needs to be making a profit. It needs to be bringing in money. And in order for that to happen, you need to market and you need to sell. And there's not really any way around this. Now, I remember a few years ago, I had a real bee in my bonnet because there seemed to be a bit of a trend in some of the business circles that I was moving in there were a few webinars and talks and discussions about, giving up traditional marketing because of everything that was wrong with it. And what was implied, it seemed to be sort of implied that there's something inherently wicked or evil or bad about marketing. And actually, there is nothing inherently anything about marketing. When it boils right down to it, marketing is simply letting people know you exist. What makes marketing icky or sleazy or hypey or over-promotional is simply how you go about doing it. But at the core of it, marketing is letting people know you exist. And so if you are not willing and able to confidently let people know what you do, how you can help, the difference that you can actually make to them, then you're not serving anybody. It's like everybody loses. You lose, your clients lose. And so, I just want to assure you today that yes, you absolutely can create a genuinely successful business while being in alignment with your values and your integrity. And I know that because I have. In other words, the way I'd say it is that yes, you can make good money doing good work while being a good person. Totally possible. And I want to share with you now sort of 6 tips to help you do that. So the first one of these, I would say, is it's really important that you take time near the outset of your business journey to sit down and get clarity around your personal values and what's really important to you. So for me, I've done this work. I know that among my very highest values are authenticity, fairness is a very high value for me, respecting others, kindness, also freedom and independence. And so when I'm making decisions about my business, whether it's my business model or my sales or my marketing, I come back to those touch points as sort of guiding lights for me. And if you haven't done that work on getting clear up front, I think it's a lot more difficult for you to sort of be your own GPS when perhaps you join a program or you work with a mentor who tells you to do something that just feels totally out of alignment for you. The second step, of course, is to then find methods of marketing and sales that actually are in alignment with your values. So there's lots of different ways of cutting it. There's lots of hypey, pushy ways of working, and there's lots of supportive, nurturing ways of working. It's still sales, it's still marketing. It's about finding those methods that feel in alignment for you, because if they don't feel true for you, you're not going to want to do them. And I think it's also worth pointing out here that the line is drawn in a slightly different place for each of us. So I know that, for example, if I take an example from a couple of years ago, a client of mine in a group I was running was very excited about having brought on a new one-to-one client. And she'd brought that one-to-one client on by using a tactic whereby she had pretended to have a cancellation and offered to have that slot filled. Worked brilliantly for her. Now, I know that in my case, I wouldn't have felt so comfortable with that particular tactic, because for me, not lying is a very important part of my value set. But for this individual, it did feel in integrity for her. Similarly, there are grey areas that I can navigate, particularly if I perceive that it's in the interest of the potential client. So I'm very comfortable making an offer to include bonuses or offer discounts in return for quick decisions from clients. That feels totally in integrity for me. So everything you see me doing in my business, I do because it feels in integrity for me, even if it doesn't immediately feel comfortable, or even if you wouldn't immediately look at it and feel that it would be comfortable for you. As an aside to that, I also want to just point out that I would want you to be very cautious and careful, because sometimes it's very easy to let your mind gremlins tell you that something feels out of integrity for you, but actually what's really happening is it just feels uncomfortable or you're scared. And so this is a discussion I frequently have with clients. If, for example, they're making sales from giving a talk to a live audience, for example, and I'll be encouraging them to make a there and then on the night offer only. And sometimes these clients will, and it's sort of their mind gremlins that do this, so sort of dress it up as being some sort of issue with their integrity, but actually on exploring it more deeply, it usually turns out that there's just fear there. The whole fear of feeling very exposed, and what if nobody takes me up on the offer, rather than anything else. So be very careful that you don't allow your very sneaky subconscious to convince you that something feels out of alignment, when actually, yes, it feels uncomfortable, but it feels uncomfortable because of fear, which is a very different feeling. The next tip I would give you is to make sure that your marketing is effective. It's again very easy for you to find methods that feel comfortable to you, but that actually don't necessarily give you the results. So, for example, meditating and affirmations to get clients. Yep, great, do them if you want to, but also just check in and look at, how can you do marketing that feels in alignment for you, yet is still effective in bringing in clients to your business, which is what matters at the end of the day. Another tip is to ask yourself how you would feel. So when I'm making decisions in my business, I will always check back in with my own value set, but I also check in with how would I feel if I was the customer here. So, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who is potentially genuinely interested in buying your product or service. They may not have put their hand up yet, but ask yourself the question, if I was genuinely interested, would that follow-up phone call feel pushy, or would I appreciate being prompted? Would that big pink buy now button on the page, would that feel hypey to me, or would I be grateful that it was easy to find? So just check in with yourself from your experience as a client. Another word of advice would be to choose your guides and mentors on the business journey wisely. To as far as possible, find people whose value set does match yours. So in my early days in business, I worked with some phenomenally effective business mentors. My business grew very quickly as a result, and I have no regrets about those decisions. But I found myself frequently needing to adapt what I was taught in terms of both sales and marketing in order to fit in with my own values, in order to feel in integrity for me, and so that I felt I could sleep well at night. And so either have that awareness of the fact that you may need to adapt some things to just sit better for you. Again, with that little word of warning, that caveat of, don't allow, be careful that it's not just your discomfort disguising itself as values. And ideally find someone to work with who does share your values, who is already walking that path. So in my case, my current business mentor, his values are entirely aligned with mine. And it is such a relief for me not to be needing to adapt everything that I learn to fit my values. And he's a hugely successful business owner, multi-million-dollar turnover business, but operates from a place of service and respect, and plows a lot of his money back into charitable ventures. And then finally, I guess, final note is to just have an awareness of the energy around your actions in business. So if you're doing some quite heavy self-promotion, just check in. Am I promoting my business so hard because I'm really feeling driven by service and wanting to make a difference? Or is it because it's for my personal gain? Again, ask yourself, am I being a little untruthful? Am I hiding the truth? Am I perhaps being manipulative? Am I perhaps not being entirely transparent here because I know that I really need the money this week? Because, if you can feel a lot more, if you know that you're coming from a place of service, then you're much more likely to be much more effective in your marketing and your sales, and you're more likely to do a really good job. The other thing, of course, is that the end result is it feels really good for you. And the more your business feels good for you, the more likely you are to actually want to step up and take action. But it also feels really good for your clients too. And what could be more heart-centered than that? So just want to reassure you, it is completely possible for you to create a genuinely successful business and make very good money while staying in alignment with your values and your integrity. And I know that because it's what I've done. If you found this video valuable, I'd love for you to share it with any other small business owner that you know might be currently navigating this conflict between values and marketing and sales. And if you haven't already come over, I'd love you to come and join me in the free Facebook group over at Selling from the Heart Community. I do a weekly live Q&A in there on the topic of that week's video. So I would love to see you in there and we can explore this in a little bit more depth. So wishing you lots of love and much success on your heart-centered business journey. Bye-bye.